Monday morning now, Spring Rock Fishery. Come here every year for Andrew, the owner. Best thing he ever did was plant the margin. Beautiful. Well, most of the lake is thick with vegetation. Water coming in here is obviously very, very wet everywhere at the moment. It's crazy. And normally, to be fair, he does what we do, which would be to pull these back in the winter. He's got a digger and a flaler, all the kit, got his own kit, and he brings it all back. Because I've said before, what happens with these plants is fantastic for the water, and as the boys are finding out, we're trying to catch little fish. You drain the lake down, so it's very, very wadeable. The whole thing's wadeable. We've got 300 metres of net dotted around the intricate islands and stuff. But the small fish we're trying to remove, they're underneath here, but they're not at the fronts. They're right back here in 2 inches of water. They're all carp in here, pretty much. And every year we just thin them out and we put them down in the pleasure fishing lake down the bottom there. And vice versa, we net that and take anything that's big enough at the same time. Yes, it's lovely. 2 lakes, you can self-sustain your stock, which is very, very useful and very, very good for biosecurity. But yeah, the little fish, they really liked it. When the sun's up, which it was a minute ago, the sun's beating down on this corner behind here, and obviously if you've got your fish head on or your angling head, that's where you go fishing if you wanted to catch one. Oh, back of the wind as well, but the tiny fish are under this left-hand bank in a big way. Lots and lots of tinies underneath the banks. Obviously we've got the finer mesh net so we can catch them, but it's getting them out of those reeds. Some people say, oh, why don't you electrofish? We've actually done that here before, but the problem is it's so labour intensive, and in fairness, you're electrofishing at the front waiting for the fish to come out, and they're 4 foot behind you in that much water, and they're this big. They don't come out, they just rise to the surface, or as they're trying to get towards the prey with pulse direct current, they're actually under the bank so you don't see them anyway. So it's hugely labour intensive. So all we then do is, because it's wadeable, walk along and splash. Basically you're never going to get all of them out, but you definitely get quite a few out like that because it's wadeable. So we'll get these nets in, dodge the rain, and then all we do here, we land all 3 nets and then plonk them over the side, and the other lake's down there. They're a bit awkward with the little islands, but lots of nice fish. Every year the fish improve in condition. When I first came down, lots of fish, quite thin, and Andrew's sensibly managing the lakes. Beautiful down there. It's real pretty, intricate little lakes with cabins. But yeah, the fish are doing really well. They are growing every year, and it's just nice to help just move a few around. But you can't be having this without amount of vegetation. If you imagine this with no plants around it, it'd look barren. And this is the winter now. I mean, it looks a peach in the warm months. But yeah, it's good. We'll see what we catch. Worth noting, we've seen quite a few fences lately, but because if you imagine here, look, it's pretty much wet all the time here. Got all these lovely hills everywhere, stunning. But yeah, when people put the otter fencing in, obviously you've either got your skirt going outwards, or you've got, you're ditching it in to the ground, all to stop the pesky otters, lovely beautiful otters, from tunnelling under and in and killing all the fish, which had actually happened here before the fence was up. First time I ever came down here, we netted the lake and Andrew had put some fish in and we couldn't find them, and I went out on the island, there was just like a graveyard out there, there's carcasses everywhere. That was a long time ago. Fish doing fantastic now. But yeah, it's worth noting that even this winter I've already seen a couple of fences that have eroded underneath the ground. And don't be fooled into thinking that I won't find that, because they will. They're very, very clever. I know Viv's got loads of footage, we've got loads of footage, as of a lot of people now, and they'll just keep patrolling around looking for weak spots. I mean, electric's great, it's very good if you can maintain electric part of the fence, but never put a fence in and think that's done now, I haven't got to touch it. This is why I keep telling people to keep them clear. This is lovely because it's easy to maintain, because you can see around it, but obviously if it's more intricate with trees and that, you've got to keep them clean, in my opinion, so you can maintain them. I don't know if there's some mileage in potentially looking at, if you're going to put a skirt, or instead of that, dropping it in the ground and maybe putting something that's not going to erode. I don't know, to be honest. Yeah, but I'd seriously look at other options, because if it's just going to, I suppose you could, these people say pack it with stone, I don't know, but there's obviously the main focus of it is to keep otters out, but when it's wet all the time underneath, this tornado wire does corrode, yeah, and obviously it weakens, so worth noting that. So just on the first sweep, we put loads of big fish back, really clean fish, and this is why they're hiding under the bushes. He's an escapee from cormorant there. It's definite cormorant damage both sides. Tried to grab him here. Very, very common. Now the other thing in this bin, which Andrew's now going to expertly pick up, every year Andrew gets us to put a few of the larger specimen pure crucians in here, and they seem to do quite nicely in here. Look at the size of that. That's amazing. There's two like that in that bin, and they're enormous. Yeah, look at that one. Look at that for pure crucian carp. And like I say, we've moved a few from the bottom lake into here, and they seem to like it in here because that's monstrous. Fantastic. So we absolutely love marginal vegetation, and so should you. And here's one reason why. If you listen carefully when ships start splashing, listen to all the it's alive with little fish under here. Now you can splash them as much as you like. We've tried electrofishing, it doesn't really work with little fish. Not to this extent. They're so tight under here, they won't come out. The only option is to get the water below that so the fish can't swim in there. We'll splash quite a few out, and in fairness, this is almost like a feeder lake to the other one. So every year it's nice to take a few binfuls out and put down there, because that's more of a pleasure fishing for the caravan. So it works really well, but it's amazing how they love it. And we have found some with cormorant damage. So but you'd rather have the vegetation because it's actually decent habitat. It's good obviously for all the other benefits, but also these little fish can hide under there, and they're all useful, so we don't like to waste anything. But yeah, it's amazing how they'll hide under there and not come out. So I don't know if you can pick out the dog. You can hear the little fish under the margins, and the dog's up there with her head down just looking. I'll show you, look. Zoom in. There she is, in there somewhere. That's a dog in there. And she's just got her head down. You can hear those tiny fish underneath her feet, underneath the margins. Once again, this is what you want your margins to look like. Vegetation. Not tree roots, nettles, bramble. Because just, why wouldn't you? So many benefits. So many benefits. And people say, oh, but I tried to plant them. It's full of fish. You can hear them. It's full of fish behind there. Can't get them out. But again, all you've got to do, if you want to get them out, we're trying to catch big ones out of here. But you just drain it, you see. It's drainable, this lake. There's gravity behind us. Set up a couple of good siphons. Decent ones, sort of 4-inch. And get this below. Look, you can see them all moving ahead of me, look. And get the water down to net it properly. The islands are a pain in here. There's these little islands which I always curse, just because I don't know why. Yeah, but no, can't take anything away from the stock of the fish. But it's absolutely rammed full, and like I say, they don't come out of these reeds unless you make them. See them moving, look. It's full of little fish. But like I say, we're trying to catch big ones out of this one. But the sheer volume in these reeds, it's great because they can hide it. They can hide from the cormorants in here, see? But you can't beat that. Just a nice fringe of plants. And it is totally worth the effort. It's totally worth doing. People always ask me for advice, quick fixes. Oh, we want to put this in, we want to put that in. Or they spend all their money on fish, stupidly thinking that's going to improve the fishing. You can hear them in here. It's ridiculous. But it's good, like I say, because to get them out, you just lower the water. And clubs should take heed as well, because we get a lot of clubs that don't buy any plants or utilise plants. They just buy more fish. But this, I say, they're not here, they're all back here. They're literally hiding from the birds. Just alive with them. Just alive with little carp, crucians. But it's a good thing, Because if they're in here, you see, let's say this was a match lake or a club water, anglers can just fish alongside these like they like to do with the floats and the poles, and you will catch them out there because it's not far for the fish to come out. But they've got all this cover. Benefits are huge. If you've got a lake that's not got any vegetation around it and you're moaning about algal blooms, you're moaning about this, that and the other, but you haven't bothered to try and plant your lakes, it's a priority. It's madness. But like I say, I'd rather have the plants and have the fish hiding. It's like a channel through here where the fish is... It's mad. But like I say, all you've got to do, if you want to crop them, thin them out, is just lower the water level. Everyone can do that. Sometimes it's a pain, but gosh, we're trying to save people buying so many fish every year. And having the plants is fantastic. Just can't beat it. Another thing worth doing is when you've got a nice established bank of beautiful plants like that, and you start getting a bit of bull rush like this, go along and pluck it out. It's easy to do. Make sure you get the root out, because this stuff is evil and it will take over before you know it. But at the moment, it's a manageable amount. Most of the plants are very, very useful. They're doing a fantastic job. But it doesn't take long. If you walked away and left this for years, you come back and the bull rush would take over. And in my opinion, you don't want that. Well, I personally don't. Personal preference and all that. But I'd pluck all this out now. Go along, and because you don't want these spreading, because it's a perfect deployment system. But you can just go along, grab them at the bottom, give them a little pull, and they'll come out. And if you did it now, in this instance, see, there's not a lot here. But if I left this, took a picture there now, and in 2 years, 3 years, and no one touched it, it'd be all along here. I've seen it happen many, many times. A rowdy bunch, aren't they? But yeah, you want more of that, which you've got all the way around this lake, which is fantastic. And like I say, it's only at the front. Only that little bit. But little things like that is what helps. There's another little patch over there. Like I say, the lake is full of really useful vegetation, which is holding tons of little fish. Whatever we catch in the nets is, like I say, it really wants draining. Do a real proper job then. And you can't get them out. You can bugger around electrofishing and catch a few just to show off. And, you can scare a few out with the nets, but they're not coming out of there in a hurry. The only way to get them out in big numbers. It's all right for this. It's a cropping exercise, fine. But if you really want to see, say I bought it tomorrow, I'd drain it anyway as a matter of course, but you just really want to do as much as you can while you're here. So by draining it below the floats, and again, people say, oh, it's not drainable, it's not drainable. Well, let's be honest, everywhere is really. All right, right now, some lakes might not be because of the amount of rain, the amount of weather, but yeah, if you wanted to do a complete catch on here, it's not that bad at the bottom. It's a fairly easy lake to net apart from the sheer amount of vegetation which the fish are hiding in, but yeah. So if you want to come and catch loads of crucian carp, pure crucians, rudd, carp, all really pristine fish, tench, you can stay in one of these nice little cabins. There's a beautiful one there, look, in a nice part of Wales. Stay there, walk over here, just sit and fish anywhere. But to be fair, the fish are on the sunny banks. I see some people would sit there and fish for an hour and not catch anything. Well, I'll just walk. All you got to do is walk around the lake, and you can hear them in the reeds, and it's alive down here with fish. And you could sit in one of these little gaps there, look, with a little waggler, and catch crucians all day long. And there's a lot in here. It's a lovely bit of fish, but yeah, but little lake. But it's good. Andrew maintains it. He feeds them, looks after them, we crop it every now and then. Move fish between the two ponds. It's really good. Sensible, simple fishing management. It's working well for him because he's got a pond absolutely rammed full of quality rudd, crucians. So it's all good.